So this is the Ranunculus repens, the sketch or illustration that I did a while back. And if you note, what I did is I traced it. So if you look at the design, see how I have actually traced it. And how you can tell is by just looking at the outline. It's not an image, it's actually a vector uh, file, and not a raster file, right? So for me, it was very easy for me to just go and you know, clip this part. Let me just see if I can get my tools. So literally, I clipped this part, right? I literally clipped this part out. And that's really, for now, because I'm not really keen to clip it, what I'll do is I'll just screenshot it. And what you see is basically then the motif, right? So let me just place it here so that you see what I did. So I clipped it, I cut it, but I still retained it as a vector file because I needed to ensure that I manipulate it, right? So manipulation means that you're able to, so that's essentially the part that I clipped out. Of course, it's a image because I actually screenshot it. But what you see is that these are just individual petals. So let me just release the clipping mask so that you see. So if you look carefully and group, you will see that all this are those individual petals. And what I did is you see how I created a splat for the color at the back. So I'm just ungrouping so that you see. So this was like a splash. I liked these four colors of gradients of yellow and orange. And then I retained the outline, right? But I colored this part green because I wanted to have some little contrast. And I let the pollen, like the pollen in the middle of the petals, I retained the white color. So I made them white. So that's essentially what needs to happen. Um, and then, of course, to ensure that you have a repeat, sorry, I'm trying to sort of go back to where it was to show you what I mean when I say it's a repeat, is you need to design a repeat that repeats, right? A motif that repeats. So have a look at this, Grace, Gladys. See that? When I now copy and move it to this side, are you seeing what's happened? It's exactly precisely joined.
Yes, yes, yes.
And similarly, even if I joined it downwards, it would be precisely the same. It would be exact bang on. Look at that. Are you seeing? No room for margin of
Yes,
error.
yes, yes.
And this is the most important thing, because if you take to a printer something that doesn't join seamlessly, they will not be able to they'll basically tell you this thing doesn't repeat, we need to recreate it, etc, etc. So your tile, that motif, that's the motif, is the single most, you'd rather get it right on all four sides. It needs to repeat left, right, center for you to then now get it to this level where you're sending it to a printer and you're very certain that it repeats. So look at that. That was the motif. Look at how it joins seamlessly onto this document. And this is essentially where you need to get to with your repeat. And then you can now decide things like, oh, I so for my blankets, perhaps I want it to be this scale. When I was talking about scale, now this is what I meant. Sorry, I forgot to pick this one. So yeah, so this is what I meant. So for example, you want them to be small and minuscule, right? So you create a different and separate file for your printer to say, this is the scale, I want it tinier, you know, um, and that's why I'm saying you need to have a very good command of your software, because you know the pattern is as good as the designer creating it, and because you know what you want to envision, you have to be very exacting, otherwise the printer will do for you whatever they want to do for you. So as you can see, I'm carefully tiling everything upwards so that it covers the full artboard. Thereafter, I then save it. Sorry, it's taking a long time because I'm working on Illustrator. Now, the best place to actually do very detailed patterns is Photoshop. I wouldn't recommend Illustrator because for Illustrator, as you can see, it takes a lot of memory space and becomes extremely difficult to manipulate. And then, always go back and check, like things like this. It's important for you to always remember that you need to keep zooming in and checking in to see that, things like, is there a miss? Is there a gap? Because the moment you send the final tile, when they print it, you can imagine they'll be printing, for some people, they even print hundreds, if not thousands of meters. It'll be a shame to have such errors. So ensure you check your pattern carefully before you actually, you know, share the file with your printer. I hope that's clear, and I think that's it from me. Thank you.